Jayam Vishnupad Brahmansa Prikajacharya Stotra Sattasi Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajacharya Stotra Sattasi Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamukunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Chamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sambeta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Shri. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. So, my dear devotees, before I begin reading about the Panihati festival, I'll read from the chapter summary to set the context. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, chapter 6, the meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Raghunath Das Goswami. A summary of this chapter is given by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabhaha Bhasya as follows. Raghunath Das Goswami had been attempting to come to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a long time. And finally he left home and met the Lord. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had gone to Shantipur on his way to Vrindavan, Raghunath Das Goswami had offered to dedicate his life at the Lord's lotus feet. In the meantime, however, a Muslim official became envious of Hiranyadas, Raghunath Das Goswami's uncle, and induced some big official court minister to have him arrested. Thus, Hiranyadas left his home, but by the intelligence of Raghunath Das, the misunderstanding was mitigated, Then Raghunath Das went to Panihati, and following the order of Nityananda Prabhu, he observed a festival, Chida Dadi Mahotsav, by distributing chipped rice mixed with yogurt. The day after the festival, Nityananda Prabhu gave Raghunath Das the blessing that he would very soon attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 6, where Chaitanya meets Raghunath Das Goswami. I'll start with text 35 and then we'll come to the Panihati festival. In this way, Raghunath Das passed 1 year exactly like a first-class business manager. But the next year, he again decided to leave home. 36. He got up alone one night and left, but his father caught him in a distant place and brought him back. 37. This became almost a daily affair. Raghunath would run away from home, and his father would again bring him back. Then Raghunath Das's mother spoke to his father as follows. 38. Our son has become mad, she said. Just keeping him by binding him with ropes. Just keep him by binding him with ropes. His father, being very unhappy, replied to her as follows. Raghunath Das, our son, has opulence like Indra, the heavenly king, and his wife is as beautiful as an angel. Yet all this could not tie down his mind. How then could we keep this boy home by binding him with ropes? It is not possible even for one's father to nullify the reactions of one's past activities. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has fully bestowed his mercy upon him. Who can keep home such a madman of Chaitanya Chandra? Then Raghunath Das considered something in his mind, and the next day he went to Nityananda Gosai. Text 43. Panihati grame paila prabhura darshana kirtaniya sevaka sange arabahujana. In the village of Panihati, Raghunath Das obtained an interview with Nityananda Prabhu, who was accompanied by many kirtan performers, servants, and others. Sitting on a rock under a tree on the bank of the Ganges, Lord Nityananda seemed as effulgent as hundreds of thousands of rising suns. Many devotees sat on the ground surrounding him. Seeing the influence of Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das was astonished. Raghunath Das offered his obeisances by falling prostrate at a distant place. And the servant of Nityananda Prabhu pointed out, there is Raghunath Das offering you obeisances. Hearing this, Lord Nityananda Prabhu said, you are a thief. Now you have come to see me. Come here, come here. Today I shall punish you. The Lord called him, but Raghunath Das did not go near the Lord. Then the Lord forcibly caught him and placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head. Lord Nityananda was by nature very merciful and funny. Being merciful, he spoke to Raghunath Das as follows. You are just like a thief, For instead of coming near, you stay away at a distant place. Now that I have captured you, I shall punish you. Make a festival and feed all my associates yogurt and chipped rice. Hearing this, Raghunath Das was greatly pleased. Raghunath Das immediately sent his own men to the village to purchase all kinds of edibles and bring them back. Raghunath Das brought chipped rice, yogurt, milk, sweetmeats, sugar, bananas, and other edibles, and placed them all around. As soon as they heard that a festival was going to be held, all kinds of Brahmins and other gentlemen began to arrive. Thus there were innumerable people. Seeing the crowd increasing, Raghunath Das arranged to get more edibles from other villages. He also brought 200 to 400 large, round earthen pots. He also obtained 5 or 7 especially large earthen pots. And in these pots, a Brahmin began soaking chipped rice to the satisfaction of Lord Nityananda. In one place, chipped rice was soaked in hot milk in each of the large pots. Then half the rice was mixed with yogurt, sugar, and bananas. The other half was mixed with condensed milk and a special type of banana known as chankala. Then sugar, clarified butter, and camphor were added. I assume we'll be distributing. After Nityananda Prabhu had changed his cloth for a new one and sat on a raised platform, the Brahmin brought before him the 7 huge pots. On that platform, all the most important associates of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, as well as other important men, sat down in a circle around the Lord. Among them were Ram Das, Sundarananda, Gadadhar Das, Murari, Kamalakara, Sadashiva, and Purandar. Dhananjay, Jagadish, Parameshwar Das, Mahesh, Gauri Das, and Hoda Krishna Das were also there. Similarly, Udaradatta Thakur and many other personal associates of the Lord sat on the raised platform with Nityananda Prabhu. No one can count them all. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The devotees mentioned herein are described by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur in his Anubhasya. For further information, one may consult the following references in the Adi Leela. And then there's a list of references for each of the associates. 64. Hearing about the festival, all kinds of learned scholars, Brahmins and priests went there. Lord Nityananda Prabhu honored them and made them sit on the raised platform with him. Everyone was offered 2 earthen pots. In one was put chipped rice with condensed milk, and in the other chipped rice with yogurt. All the other people sat in groups around the platform. No one could count how many people were there. Each and every one of them was supplied 2 earthen pots, one of chipped rice soaked in yogurt, and the other of chipped rice soaked in condensed milk. You are a very bright and learned audience. 68. Some of the Brahmins, not having gotten a place on the platform, went to the bank of the Ganges with their 2 earthen pots and soaked their chipped rice there. Others, who could not get a place even on the bank of the Ganges, got down into the water and began eating their 2 kinds of chipped rice. Thus, some sat on the platform, some at the base of the platform, and some on the bank of the Ganges. And they were all supplied 2 pots each by the 20 men who distributed the food. At that time, Raghava Pandit arrived there. Raghava Pandit had a residence just nearby in Panihati. At that time, Raghava Pandit arrived there. Seeing the situation, he began to laugh in great surprise. He brought many kinds of food cooked in ghee and offered to the Lord. This prasadam was first placed before Lord Nityananda and then distributed among the devotees. Raghava Pandit said to Lord Nityananda, "For you, sir, I have already offered food to the deity, but you are engaged in a festival here, and so the food is lying there untouched." Lord Nityananda replied, "Let me eat all this food here during the day, and I shall eat at your home at night. I belong to a community of cowherd boys, and therefore I generally have many cowherd associates with me. I am happy when we eat together in a picnic like this by the sandy bank of the river." Because in Krishna Lila, Lord Nityananda was Balaram, cowherd boy. Lord Nityananda made Raghava Pandit sit down and had 2 pots delivered to him also. There were 2 kinds of chipped rice soaked in them. When the chipped rice had been served to everyone, Lord Nityananda Prabhu in meditation brought Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived, Lord Nityananda Prabhu stood up. They then saw how the others were enjoying the chipped rice with yogurt and condensed milk. From each and every pot, Lord Nityananda Prabhu took 1 morsel of chipped rice and pushed it into the mouth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a joke. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, also smiling, took a morsel of food and pushed it in the mouth of Nityananda and laughed as he made Lord Nityananda eat it. In this way, Lord Nityananda was walking through all the groups of eaters, and all the Vaishnavas standing there were seeing the fun. No one could understand what Nityananda Prabhu was doing as he walked about. Some, however, who were very fortunate, could see that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also present. Then Nityananda Prabhu smiled and sat down. On his right side, he kept 4 pots of chipped rice that had not been made from boiled paddy. Lord Nityananda offered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a place and had him sit down. Then together, the 2 brothers began eating chipped rice. Seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eating with him, Lord Nityananda Prabhu became very happy and exhibited varieties of ecstatic love. Lord Nityananda Prabhu ordered, "All of you eat, chanting the holy name of Hari." Immediately the holy names, Hari, 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 resounded, filling the entire universe. When all the Vaishnavas were chanting the holy names, Hari, 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 and eating, They remembered how Krishna and Balaram ate with their companions, the cowherd boys, on the bank of the Yamuna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu are extremely merciful and liberal. It was Raghunath Das's good fortune that they accepted all these dealings. Who can understand the influence and mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu? He is so powerful that he induced Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come eat chipped rice on the bank of the Ganges. All the confidential devotees who were cowherd boys, headed by Sri Ram Das, were absorbed in ecstatic love. They thought the bank of the Ganges to be the bank of the Yamuna. When the shopkeepers of many other villages heard about the festival, they arrived there to sell chipped rice, yogurt, sweetmeats, and bananas. As they came, bringing all kinds of food, Raghunath Das purchased it all. He gave them the price for their goods and later fed them the very same food. Anyone who came to see how these funny things were going on was also fed chipped rice, yogurt, and bananas. After Lord Nityananda Prabhu finished eating, he washed his hands and mouth and gave Raghunath Das the food remaining in the 4 pots. There was food remaining in the 3 other big pots of Lord Nityananda, and a Brahmin distributed it to all the devotees, giving a morsel to each. Then a Brahmin brought a flower garland, placed the garland on Nityananda Prabhu's neck, and smeared sandalwood pulp all over his body. When a servant brought betel nuts and offered them to Lord Nityananda, the Lord smiled and chewed them. With his own hands, Lord Nityananda Prabhu distributed all the devotees whatever flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and betel nuts remained. And see how merciful Lord Nityananda is, and also how humble he is, that how he was serving the devotees personally. With his own hands, Lord Nityananda Prabhu distributed to all the devotees whatever flower garlands, sandalwood pulp, and betel nuts remained. After receiving the remnants of the food left by Lord Nityananda Prabhu, Raghunath Das, who was greatly happy, ate some and distributed the rest among his own associates. Thus, I have described the pastimes of Lord Nityananda Prabhu in relation to the celebrated festival of chipped rice and yogurt. Nityananda Prabhu rested for the day, and when the day ended, he went to the temple of Raghava Pandit and began congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Nityananda Prabhu first induced all the devotees to dance, and finally he himself began dancing, thus inundating the entire world in ecstatic love. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was observing the dancing of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu could see this, but the others could not. The dancing of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, like the dancing of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, cannot be compared to anything within these 3 worlds. No one can properly describe the sweetness of Lord Nityananda's dancing. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally comes to see it. After the dancing and after Lord Nityananda had rested, Raghava Pandit submitted his request that the Lord take supper. Lord Nityananda Prabhu sat down for supper with his personal associates and made a sitting place on his right side for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there and sat down at his place. Seeing this, Raghava Pandit felt increasing happiness. Raghava Pandit brought the prasadam before the two brothers and thereafter distributed prasadam to all the other Vaishnavas. There were varieties of cakes, sweet rice, and fine-cooked rice that surpassed the taste of nectar. There were also varieties of vegetables. The food prepared and offered to the deity by Raghava Pandit was like the essence of nectar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there came again and again to eat such prasadam. When Raghava Pandit offered the food to the deity after cooking, he would make a separate offering for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Every day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would eat at the house of Raghava Pandit. Sometimes he would give Raghava Pandit the opportunity to see him. Raghava Pandit would bring and distribute prasadam to the two brothers, feeding them with great attention. They ate everything, and therefore there were no remnants left. He brought so many presentations that no one could know them perfectly. Indeed, it was a fact that the Supreme Mother was the Supreme Mother in this context, Radharani. Indeed, it was a fact that the Supreme Mother, Radharani, personally cooked in the house of Raghava Pandit. Srimati Radharani received from Durvasa Muni the benediction that whatever she cooked would be sweeter than nectar. That is the special feature of her cooking. Aromatic and pleasing to see, the food was the essence of all sweetness. Thus the two brothers, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda Prabhu, ate it with great satisfaction. All the devotees present requested Raghunath Das to sit down and take prasadam. But Raghava Pandit told them he will take prasadam later. All the devotees took prasadam, filling themselves to the brim. Thereafter, chanting the holy name of Hari, Hari, Hari. Thereafter, chanting the holy name of Hari, they stood up and washed their hands and mouths. After eating, the two brothers washed their hands and mouths. Then Raghava Pandit brought flower garlands and sandalwood pulp and decorated them. Raghava Pandit offered them betel nuts and worshipped their lotus feet. He also distributed betel nuts, flower garlands, and sandalwood pulp to the devotees. Such a beautiful culture. Raghava Pandit, being very merciful toward Raghunath Das, offered him the dishes with the remnants of food left by the two brothers. He said, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has eaten this food. If you take his remnants, you will be released from the bondage of your family. The Supreme Personality of Godhead always resides either in the heart or in the home of a devotee. This fact is sometimes hidden and sometimes manifest, for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is fully independent. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is all-pervasive, and therefore he resides everywhere. Anyone who doubts this will be annihilated. In the morning, after taking his bath in the Ganges, Nityananda Prabhu sat down with his associates beneath the same tree under which he had previously sat. Raghunath Das went there and worshipped Lord Nityananda's lotus feet. Through Raghava Pandit, he submitted his desire. I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, and condemned. His humility. I am the lowest of men, the most sinful, fallen, and condemned. Nevertheless, I desire to attain the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like a dwarf who wants to catch the moon, I have tried my best many times, but I've never been successful. Every time I tried to go away and give up my home relationships, my father and mother unfortunately kept me bound. No one can attain the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without your mercy. But if you are merciful, even the lowest of men can attain shelter at his lotus feet. Although I am unfit and greatly afraid to submit this plea, I nevertheless request you, sir, to be especially merciful toward me by granting me shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Placing your feet on my head, give me the benediction that I may achieve the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without difficulty. I pray for this benediction. After hearing this appeal by Raghunath Das, Lord Nityananda Prabhu smiled and told all the devotees, Raghunath Das's standard of material happiness is equal to that of Indra, the king of heaven. Because of the mercy bestowed upon him by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Raghunath Das, although situated in such material happiness, does not like it at all. Therefore, let every one of you be merciful toward him and give him the benediction, that he may very soon attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One who experiences the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna does not value even the standard of happiness available in Brahmaloka, the topmost planet, and what to speak of heavenly happiness. Yodustyam Tarasutam Surid Rajam Hridis Prashai Jahau Vaiva Malavad Uttama Shloka Lalasa. Translation. Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is offered sublime poetic prayers by those trying to attain his favor. Thus he is known as Uttama Shloka. Being very eager to attain the association of Lord Krishna, King Bharat, although in the prime of youth, gave up his very attractive wife, affectionate children, most beloved friends, and opulent kingdom, exactly as one gives up stool after evacuating it. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 5:14-43. So you see the comparison between King Bharat and Raghunath Das. 138. Then Lord Nityananda Prabhu called Raghunath Das near him, placed his lotus feet upon Raghunath Das's head, and began to speak. My dear Raghunath Das, he said, since you arranged the feast on the bank of the Ganges, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came here just to show you his mercy. By his causeless mercy, he ate the chipped rice and milk, Then, after seeing the dancing of the devotees at night, he took his supper. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gaurahari, came here personally to deliver you. Now rest assured that all the impediments meant for your bondage are gone. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept you and place you under the charge of his secretary, Swarup Damodar. You will thus become one of the most confidential internal servants and will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being assured of all this, return to your own home. Very soon, without impediments, you will attain shelter at the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Nityananda had Raghunath Das blessed by all the devotees, and Raghunath Das offered his respects to their lotus feet. After taking leave of Lord Nityananda Prabhu and then all the other Vaishnavas, Sri Raghunath Das consulted secretly with Raghava Pandit. After consulting with Raghava Pandit, he secretly delivered 100 gold coins and about 7 tolas of gold into the hand of Nityananda Prabhu's treasurer. Raghunath Das admonished the treasurer, do not speak to this to Lord Nityananda Prabhu now, but when he returns home, kindly inform him about this presentation. Thereupon, Raghava Pandit took Raghunath Das to his home. After inducing him to see the deity, he gave Raghunath Das a garland and sandalwood pulp. He gave Raghunath Das a large quantity of prasad to eat on his way home. Then Raghunath Das again spoke to Raghava Pandit. I want to give money, he said, just to worship the lotus feet of all the great devotees, servants and subservants of Lord Nityananda Prabhu. As you think fit, give 20, 15, 12, 10, or 5 coins to each of them. Raghunath Das drew up an account of the amount to be given and submitted it to Raghava Pandit, who then made up a list showing how much money was to be paid to each and every devotee. With great humility, Raghunath Das placed 100 gold coins and about 2 tolas of gold before Raghava Pandit for all the other devotees. After taking dust from the feet of Raghava Pandit, Raghunath Das returned to his home, feeling greatly obliged to Lord Nityananda Prabhu because of having received his merciful benediction. And then the chapter goes on to describe how Raghunath Das stayed at home and eventually escaped and traveled by foot to Jagannath Puri and attained the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And it's mentioned here that no one can attain the mercy of Lord Chaitanya without the mercy of Lord Nityananda, which reminds me of a beautiful statement by Srila Prabhupada. He said that to approach Radha and Krishna, one needs the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. And to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, one needs the mercy of Lord Nityananda. And to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda, one has to approach people like Jagai and Madha. So there are plenty of such people around, and if we approach them somehow or other, give them a book, give them prasad, bring them to the temple. We'll get Lord Nityananda's mercy. By his mercy, we'll get Lord Chaitanya's mercy. By Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we'll be able to approach Shri Radha and Krishna. So, my dear devotees, thank you for listening so patiently and attentively. And to Prabhu, do we have time for questions and comments? So, yes, so any of you have any questions or comments, any reflections you would like to share, you can raise your hand. Yes, Ram Rai. Hare Krishna. Welcome. It's a pleasure to see you.
I've always drawn a comparison to the order of Lord Nityananda to Raghunath Das Goswami to make a festival and feed my associates chick rice and yogurt, to the order which comes from Lord Nityananda and was distributed to Srila Prabhupada, make a sanctifying festival. And I like how you just presented that the way to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda is to approach the Jadais and Madais. Lord Nityananda told Lord Chaitanya when he was about to kill them with the Sudarshan chakra, if you kill them, you have to kill everybody. It's everyone.
Yes.
It's like Jadai and Madai in Kali Yuga. So, could you perhaps elaborate with your realization on this, that we take this literally, that make the festival of chick rice and yogurt, but the order of Lord Nityananda to all of us is make a sanctifying festival. And then later, Robert the Pandit said, Lord Nityananda said that Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya accepted all of these dealings. So whatever arrangements we make to approach the people, and we're straining our brain, and we're giving our life's energy and the age that we have in this body to just go out there and do it, whatever the dealings, we're doing it sincerely. And Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya will be pleased, and you can ultimately be an object of mercy, just as Raghunath Das Goswami.
Jai. You yourself are the example of going out and meeting, chanting the holy name, meeting the people, giving them books. Yeah. So were you asking a question or just sharing a reflection?
No, I'm asking you to give your realization on. I'm making this comparison. First, we can maybe say it's a good comparison. Only if I think it's rather great, and perhaps, and if you do think it's okay, maybe you have some realization on this also.
Yeah, it is a good comparison. And I just think of Srila Prabhupada's mercy, how he, of course, came to New York City at such an advanced age. And then he went to Tompkins Square Park and chanted under the tree. And now there's a plaque on that tree.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna tree.
Do they have the Latin on the tree describing what kind of tree it is? It simply says Hare Krishna tree.
Yeah. So yeah, Srila Prabhupada was extraordinarily merciful, and his mercy reminds me a lot of Lord Nityananda's mercy. And in fact, of course, many people have observed or commented that Srila Prabhupada was a Shakti-avesh avatar, which means empowered incarnation, and perhaps empowered especially by the potency of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And yeah, we're so indebted to Srila Prabhupada for coming, giving us the holy name, giving us these books, temples, deities, prasadam, everything. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
My question is, why would Nityananda
Do we have another microphone that
She asked, why did Lord Nityananda call Raghunath Das Goswami a thief?
Yeah, because he was offering obeisances from a distance. He didn't want to come close. So thieves are like that. They hover in the distance. They don't come close. So, yeah, yes, you are a thief, and now I will punish you. Oh, the festival. Any other questions or comments or reflections? All right, Tukaram Prabhu, what is next?
Just to glorify Maharaj a little bit, I think in the Hare Krishna movement, amongst your peers and also amongst your juniors, Giriraj Swami is known as like the Raghunath Das Goswami of ISKCON. I took the mic from you on purpose, Maharaj.
No, I'm gonna support what you said. I'm not gonna contradict it.
We'll see.
Yes. One day, I went into Srila Prabhupada's room in Juhu, and I always had this image of myself going to Vrindavan, like Raghunath Das Goswami, and wandering throughout Raja. And Srila Prabhupada said to me that that first Raghunath Das expertly managed his father's estate. He said, so first you manage my estate here in Juhu, and then you go to Vrindavan and become a Goswami.
In some ways, the pastime that Maharaj read from in our sacred literature should be seen as a depiction of heaven. So it's from that abode, from the transcendental abode, these are eternal pastimes, the Lord and his associates. And so we normally wouldn't compare them to what's going on here. However, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was also performing pastimes that we could copy. And so it's natural that when the Lord was engaged in a Charya Leela, along with his devotees, that those Leelas are similar to what we strive for in our spiritual life. And so Maharaj was told by Prabhupada that it's a weird, if you think about it, because Prabhupada was a sannyasi, you gave your life up to join him, but then he took the role of Raghunath Das's parents that didn't manage his estate. So there's like a lot of layers to the ins and outs. It's a pretty nuanced example Prabhupada gave. But obviously the comparison was apropos, because Prabhupada noted it. Your desire to go to Vrindavan was also similar. And there's one last one. Maharaj's parents, much like Raghunath Das Goswami's parents, tried to bribe Srila Prabhupada in the Hare Krishna movement and give him $1 million if they would send Giriraj Swami home. Prabhupada refused the donation. And so in this way also, there's like a bunch of things in Maharaj's life that somehow are very similar to, remind us of, seem to be a modern day comparable iteration of these wonderful pastimes. So it's especially sweet for us to have Maharaj read these pastimes on this day, given that for us, he very much occupies that space in our hearts and our minds. And the last thing I'll say is this, Maharaj. He said, although it's maybe a bold comparison to make, and I'm in good company because Srila Prabhupada made the comparison, but at the same time, what can we do? You are that to us. We came into the movement, we read about these things in these books, we saw people honoring those teachings in their own lives. You're that person. And so it's almost impossible for us to think about Raghunath Das Goswami and not also think about your superlative example. So thank you, Maharaj, for a lifetime of devotion. We're very grateful to have you.
If we have a few minutes, I'll tell that story when my parents came to me with $1 million.
In general, we like to keep a good schedule. And in general, when you invite a sannyasi, they mess up your schedule. They show up late, although Maharaj drove hours to get here. He drove further to get here than any of you, so. And he's older, I think, than most of you. Almost everybody. And so he showed up late, then he wanted to lead kirtan when he showed up late, and I gently kind of tried to twist his arm not to lead a big kirtan before he spoke. Then he spoke, I think you read 120 verses or something like that. It was a lot of verses you read. And so in general, we like to keep a schedule. But that's superseded by how blessed we are to have our elder with us. It's not necessarily going to be forever. We are all getting older. Our elders are getting older. And someday, they will go back to Godhead and we won't get to see them like we've grown accustomed to. And so Maharaj just got some inspiration. He wanted to tell the story about how his parents tried to bribe Prabhupada and get him back. He wanted to tell that story. So we're just going to throw caution to the wind. Just move your legs around a little bit, sit tight, and let's listen to Maharaj for a few minutes while he tells that story.
So in 1971, my parents came to meet me in Calcutta. I was with Srila Prabhupada in our center there, at 3 Albert Road. And Srila Prabhupada dealt very expertly with my father, but I won't tell the preliminary interaction for the sake of time. But then my father said that he wanted me to come home because he wanted to establish a fund for me with $1 million in it. And he wanted me to sign the papers. And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you can send the papers, he will sign. And then, I was quite thin at the time, and my mother was very concerned about my health. And back then, many people had the idea that if you didn't eat meat, you couldn't get enough protein. So, Srila Prabhupada always kept sweets on his table, and being Calcutta, he had rasgulla and sandesh. And so he placed some in my father's hand and my mother's hand. And he said, these are made of cheese and they're very high in protein. And then he said to me, Giriraj, you must eat 2 dozen rasgulla and sandesh every day. Still working on it. But they came back to the point that they wanted me to come back to America. So Srila Prabhupada said that he would be coming in the summer. And I said to my father, just see how intelligent Srila Prabhupada is, because when it's cold in the winter in America, it's pleasant in India, and he's in India. And then when it gets too hot in India and it's pleasant in the West, he goes to America. And by then my father was getting very enlivened by Srila Prabhupada. And he said, yes, your master is very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, your son is very intelligent because he has understood my strategy. And my father said, no, you are very intelligent. And Srila Prabhupada said, well, I guess I must be intelligent, otherwise how could I attract so many intelligent young men like your son? So it was settled like that. And then as my father was leaving the room, he said, I'll say two things about your master. One, he's a brilliant organizer. And two, he really knows how to deal with people. And in my father's value system, those were like the two highest compliments he could pay to anyone. So, yeah, he was charmed by Srila Prabhupada. And then some time later, I went to Madras and staying at different people's homes and eating sambar and idlis and dosa. I put on weight. Yeah, my mother was very concerned because I was so thin, so I put on weight. And then when Srila Prabhupada came to Madras, he said I should take a picture of myself and send it to my mother. So she would know I'm nice and healthy. So, yeah, very kind and merciful to everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
And it's all right for kirtan?